Hello, my name is Mr. Phillips, and I am here to show you some examples of how we can generate gas and some properties of those gases. The first gas we're going to generate is carbon dioxide, known as CO2. To do this, we're going to combine vinegar with baking soda. I've already put the vinegar into the flask labeled CO2, and now I'm going to put in some baking soda. So see if you notice a change in the vinegar. You should notice some bubbling and fizzing going on. That means we're producing a gas of some sort, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a little stopper on here. I've got my safety goggles on to be safe, and we're going to try to capture some of that gas, and then we're going to test it to see if it burns. One of the properties of carbon dioxide is that it does not burn. So I'm going to start a wooden splint on fire. And then I'm going to put it down into the flask and see if it continues to burn or if it goes out. You notice that the wooden splint went out almost immediately when it came in contact with the carbon dioxide. This is Mr. Phillips again. The second demonstration I'm going to do for you is using hydrogen peroxide and yeast to generate oxygen. I've already put the hydrogen peroxide into the flask labeled oxygen, so now I'm going to put in some yeast. Notice the change in the flask as the yeast is introduced. I'm going to once again cover this flask lightly to capture the gases. I have my safety goggles on just in case the cork decides to pop out. You'll notice in the flask there are bubbles down there indicating a chemical reaction. So again, the gas that we're trying to produce is oxygen. Oxygen has a characteristic that it is a flammable gas, meaning that when you introduce fire to it, it will continue to burn. So you can see that the yeast is definitely reacting with the hydrogen peroxide. So while that continues to react, I'm going to start my wooden splint on fire. And this time, I'm going to take the stopper off the top of the flask and I'm going to gently blow out my splint, and we'll see if it lights back up again, indicating a high presence of oxygen. You'll notice the wooden splint's burning very brightly in the presence of an oxygen-rich environment, so we did indeed produce a lot of oxygen with our reaction between hydrogen peroxide and yeast.